Hey, it's JQ with Tech Creation. So, the Galaxy Note 5 follows the footsteps of its younger brother, the Galaxy S6. So, let's check this guy out. It's kind of like a reversed S6. Instead of the glass curving inward on the front, it curves inward on the back. You have your 5 megapixel front-facing camera that's capable of shooting QHD video, and it remains in the same location. On the bottom is your 3.5mm headphone jack, the micro USB cable for charging, and your speaker grill along with the S Pen and a couple of antennas. It retains that same premium design that we all applauded Samsung for, and Samsung for some reason decided to do away with the IR blaster. And more on that later in the video. Now the speakers sound a little bit better than the Galaxy S6, but they're definitely nothing to brag about. They're just okay. Now I'm not going to go into science about how the phone feels in the hand, but just know that it's a big phone. It has a 5.7-inch Quad HD display, and more details on that a little bit later. It definitely feels big jumping from the Galaxy S6, but it feels narrower than the Galaxy Note 4. It's comfortable to hold, to say the least, thanks to the Gorilla Glass 4 that's curved on the back. Now it could be slippery at times, but that's depending on how cold the glass is. When the glass is a little warmer, it sticks to your hand a lot better. Also, like the Galaxy S6, is a fingerprint magnet and it's prone to smudges. So prepare to grab yourself some film protectors. The buttons on the phone are placed in a manner where it doesn't interfere when holding it in a closed hand grip, which is good. It has built-in fast charging, wireless charging, and fast wireless charging. Now, I couldn't stop staring at this badass wireless charging animation. And it's small details like this that make you appreciate your smartphone experience. Alright, so I want to start talking about the software. This phone is running Android 5.0 Lollipop with finally the first lag-free TouchWiz experience. I've been more than happy with the performance of the phone. It runs super quick, super snappy. I haven't experienced no drop frames, no lag. I've tried my best to make it lag. I just couldn't get it to lag. One app that used to take forever on Samsung phones was the gallery, and that is now gone. The stutters are just non-existent. I haven't experienced any sort of lag or freezing or nothing of that nature. I've even tried going to the home screen while I was in the middle of gameplay and still no lag. So big thumbs up and shout out to Samsung for that move. The way I could describe the performance of the Galaxy Note 5 is it has the responsiveness of a desktop PC. I must admit though, I hate the new TouchWiz icons. I think they're hideous. They look very childish, and I don't know what Samsung was thinking including these icons in stock TouchWiz, and I don't think these sort of rounded icons belong on a flagship phone. But it's no big deal for me because thankfully it's Android. I'm just gonna go ahead and install Google Now Launcher anyway. You get 100 gigabytes of OneDrive cloud storage included and Microsoft Office mobile suite included as well. Now the fingerprint sensor is ridiculously fast. It's miles ahead from when we was first introduced to it on the Galaxy S5. It's impressive on how fast Samsung has progressed in their fingerprint sensor over the past year and a half. I'm not going to run any benchmark apps because that's not indicative of real world use. When it comes to gaming, it runs just fine. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I still have yet to experience any lag no matter what kind of task I was doing. And thanks to that Quad HD Super Amoled display, that really puts the icing on the cake. It will be really difficult to try to downplay Samsung's display technology. I think they're almost close to perfecting these beautiful, gorgeous, and vibrant displays. Now, I won't get into any tech jargon like saturation and nits, but I'll say simply, it's sharp, it's bright, and it's colorful. Speaking of beauty and sights to behold, let's talk about that camera. So the camera is a 16 megapixel camera with an aperture of f1.9, which basically means you're going to get beautiful photos. DSLR-like quality. Now starting off with the camera modes, they're pretty much identical to the Galaxy S6 except for a few key features added, such as live broadcast. Now this feature is similar to Twitter's Periscope app, and if you aren't familiar with Periscope, it's basically a live streaming app that lets you broadcast video to your followers. So this does the same thing except it links to your YouTube channel and you can go ahead and stream live video directly from the camera app itself. Another cool feature is video collage mode. It works on both rear and front cameras It lets you take 4 6-second videos and it stitches it together in one video and makes it available for sharing. Here's some shots of the 5 megapixel front facing camera. This is how the audio sounds. What is that? The outdoor visibility was pretty good, no complaints here. What's also cool that I think photographers might like is that if you go into the pro settings, you can have full control of the exposure and the ISO. What's really cool is that this camera also shoots in RAW. RAW is an image format that allows them more flexibility when they're picture editing by storing more information on the file itself. So now here are some outdoor shots. This is just me taking the camera out and just firing away. Now here are a few low light shots at nighttime. It does a pretty good job. Of course, the darker it is, the more grain you're going to start to see, and all smartphones and even high-end video cameras suffer from that. So now the camera did a pretty good job in automatically exposing the picture properly in certain scenes. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. It does the job. Now here's an example of the optical image stabilization that's built into the camera. And these are all handheld shots. There was no stabilization added at all. This is raw video straight from the phone. I'm consistently blown away every time I play back video from this phone. Alright, so now let's talk about what the Note is all about. The S Pen. It has a clicky head where you push it in and it pops out. I prefer the old-fashioned way of doing it because even when you click it, it doesn't come entirely out, so you end up having to still pull it anyway. So what was once one step is now a two-step process. Now one of the main features brought to the S Pen is the ability to take notes while the screen is off. Basically, you just pop out the S Pen and you can begin taking notes without having to unlock your phone. So as you can imagine, this is perfect for those on-the-go scenarios where you just simply have no time to unlock your phone. Really, really nice idea. Now another cool idea is the ability to do scroll captures. So basically in the air view menu, if you select screen right, you have the ability to capture multiple screenshots on any scrollable screen throughout the UI. So this can be a web page, it can be a text message thread, or it can be your Twitter feed, anything that scrolls. It'll go ahead and stitch all those images together in one nice long picture that's ready for sharing. One thing to note though, if you upload it to Twitter or Facebook or something like that, it's going to be very pixelated, so it might be best to share the file directly as opposed to uploading it. A feature also exclusive to the Galaxy Note 5 is the ability to add your own shortcut to the Air command menu. So by pressing the Add Shortcut button, you can add some of your favorite apps, up to 3 of them. That way you can access them later on if you happen to have the S Pen in your hand, as opposed to you having to leave the app completely to launch another app. There's a bunch of underrated uses for the S Pen that I did not mention in this video. I made a separate video about that, of S Pen tips and tricks, so I'll leave a link on top if you want to check it out. Warning, warning, do not try this at home. I repeat, do not try this at home. So there was an article on AndroidPolice.com of reports saying that inserting the S Pen backwards into the Note, it'll damage your phone permanently. So here I go saying, oh, here's another exaggerated claim. So for all intensive purposes and review's sake, out of curiosity, I went ahead and inserted it backwards and confirmed it to be true. Do not try this. I was blown away of how ridiculously easy it is to screw up this device. Damaging a $700-800 device should not be this easy. If you insert the pen the wrong way, you should be able to correct it, and that's not the case here. Now I know a lot of you saying, well, why would you put the S Pen backwards? And that's not really the point. The last 4 versions of the Note, the S Pen was designed thicker on the top. This way no one can accidentally put it in the wrong way because there was always some resistance. Now it may look like it's jammed, and I think that's the misconception everybody thinks. This wasn't shoved in there. This goes in perfectly buttery smooth in both directions, and this is a design flaw, point blank. I was able to get this covered under warranty, so I would be getting a new phone soon. Just be careful out there, guys. Alright, that's the end of my rant. One thing I would have liked to see in the S Pen is maybe they could have taken advantage of that clicky head on the top and maybe integrate it with a Bluetooth low energy solution where if you do a double press of the pen, it can launch a command or a certain app that you register it to. I would really like to see something like this implemented in the upcoming S Pen design. I think that'd be really cool. For whatever reason, they decided to get rid of the IR blaster. Samsung really upset a lot of people, including myself, and I hope they have some sort of trick up their sleeves with this decision, but only time will tell. So now the big question that's on everybody's mind, the battery life. It has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. I've been very pleased with the battery life on the Galaxy Note 5. I've gotten around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time on a daily basis. I haven't experienced any sudden battery drain. I've been on both Wi-Fi and LTE, and I've done all sorts of stuff. The same heavy usage I had with the S6, and it easily gets me through a day without no problem. Now I wanted to take a moment to talk about Samsung Pay. This is Samsung's mobile payment service that's definitely going to shake up the industry. Those who are familiar with Apple Pay and Google Wallet, Samsung Pay is like one step ahead of them because it utilizes this MST technology. Basically, it emulates the mag stripe technology on the back of your credit cards. Wherever you can swipe a card, you can use Samsung Pay. I'm really eager to try that out and see how well it does in the real world and see if it catches on to the masses. Alright guys, that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share with a friend or two. I want to thank you all for being great. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll leave more detailed information on specs in the description below. As always, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.